don't go into business if you not mentally prepare, healthy, like prepare your mind for battle.
Just make sure that before you start your business aligns with your self-care and vice versa.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and the wisdom of how they sold their first million.
So in your view, Kelly, if it's better to be right all the time, or what is your secret, your recipe to don't get angry and to keep relationships? And tell us about the chapters of your book that you wrote, and also tell us about your book. When can we find it, or where people can buy it, how people can access to you? We want to know all this.
Thank you. Again, you went back to your ego, right? I want to be right. And that's how you pushed your dad away. And then you learned that it's not about being right or wrong. It's really about being able to listen to him without feeling like he's insulting you just because he's sharing a story with you. And so what you did is you created a filter, right? So emotion did not live with your father. Logic did. Well, if my father wants to speak to me, why not listen to him? Because he's such a curious guy. He brings so much to the table. Just because he brings so much to the table, that doesn't take away what you already know. Right? And so you connected that exceptionally well. And many people are having
I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did. But again, Kelly, because I started to work on myself, I started to read a lot about what you specialize. Because otherwise, and there are people that never find out. Yeah. That's the problem. People never find out that it has a huge. That's the story that you hear, that that families don't talk, or relationships, people don't talk with his ex-wife or ex-husbands, and there is this anger and this hate stored there for the whole life. And people need to know again more, that this type of knowledge is out there, that we have experts that can definitely help. So Kelly, if somebody's in love with our conversation, how people can find you, how this process works, how can they find your book, what your book is about? Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
So the book is about controlling your anger, but mostly being in control of yourself. So it's really not controlling the anger. The anger is extremely healthy. It gives you a cue that potentially something is wrong, or it gives you a cue where you need to be a little bit more cognizant and conscientious. That's number one. Number two, you could find me at kellygorski.com. And my book, you could find my website, which is also on kellygorski.com, or Amazon, which is, easily accessible on Kindle or just on purchase. And it's Kelly Gorski Anger Management 101 workbook. So it's an interactive workbook, actually. So it's not just a book, because I find those types of books not just scientific, maybe a little wordy, not boring, but wordy. So this book is very concise, or this workbook is very concise. It gives you a few paragraphs of information regarding relationship with yourself, relationship with others, being able to be in control, and how to resolve dilemmas, how to reflect, how to create that filter that you and I have been speaking about, and not having that humongous ego, taking a huge accountability, what you contribute to every relationship, including yourself. And I believe many people do not do that. They forget that they contribute, and they don't take accountability as to how they participated in that dilemma, or in that conflict, and that problem. And we're so easy to point fingers at others, whereas we're not really thinking, like, what did I do in this circumstance to potentially cause this? Right. And so my workbook gives you many assignments to self-reflect and identify how did you contribute to this specific dilemma. And so go step by step in, making sure that you're comprehending how to have conversations, how to have a productive conversation, when to choose a battle, when not to choose a battle. And the other thing is you asked me a question a couple of minutes ago, whether or not people should continue their relationships with people that they're arguing about, or should they not? Choose a battle, not choose a battle. Well, that's a very big question. And I guess there's two ways to answer that or to respond to that. Number one, I think identifying the purpose of the relationship. What does this relationship bring you into your life? So is it, what are the attributes? What are some assets? What are some ramifications, flaws, difficulties? So you want to find purpose. And once you find and identify the purpose, you're able to self-reflect and say, well, if this relationship is purposeful, then how do I keep it? Right? And that's exactly what you did with your dad.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you find the relationship to heavily weigh on the cons, the negatives, the flaws, the constant problems, the toxicity, the roller coaster, where, everything is burdensome and you don't find any happiness, joy, purpose, light, entertainment, something that gives you the ability to say, yes, this works. And if it's abusive, toxic, painful, to a point where you're not able to breathe, then yes, that is when you let go. But you need to self-reflect on how you contribute and if you do. So that's kind of where I'm at with all of your pointers and questions.
Thank you so much, Kelly. This conversation has been fantastic. I really, really appreciate that you share your knowledge with us, with our audience today. And I wish that more entrepreneurs find more about you, about what you do, and take it seriously, because the success of your business is only highly dependent, 80%, 90% highly dependent of the mindset of this entrepreneur, of that mental health of the entrepreneur. And entrepreneurs have to work on themselves. Again, what we discussed before, there is a lot of pressure that we had to handle. And because we deal with more pressure, we had to be able to release that pressure in the best vehicle. But to have someone like you to talk about, someone that can help find the most effective vehicle to release this negative emotional pain that is a nature of having a business is will happen undoubtedly to you, because become an entrepreneur is skill based. The more you practice, the better you become. And by practicing being an entrepreneur, you're gonna deal with failures, and that failures is gonna bring negative emotional pain to your mindset, to your mental health, that if it's not treated or deal with, end up in physical pain. So what's the last message, Kelly, you have for our audience?
Just make sure that before you start your business aligns with your self-care and vice versa.
Wow, very powerful.
That's my message.
Wow, very, very powerful. I love it so much. Actually, in this podcast, Kelly, we already interviewed 500 millionaires, and there are a couple of persons, if I don't remember, that I asked him, give me the 5 steps how to achieve the first million. And the first thing they're saying is mental health. They're saying, don't go into business if you're not mentally prepared, healthy, prepare your mind for battle. Because you're going for battle, and you have mentally prepared for it. And this is so profound that obviously I only know by experience that, but for me it was even worse. I didn't know that that was even a thing, So, and there is very little awareness about this. So, I'm glad, Kelly, we had this conversation so we can raise awareness about this topic that is so important for the life, not only for the entrepreneur, for the relationship with your family, with your spouses, with your environment, with your community.
Colleagues.
Yeah, exactly. So colleagues, exactly, colleagues, employees, you name it. So let's say yes to be happy, to be wealthy, to be happy, and let's say no to be angry, egocentric,
Frustrated. Mhm.
pressure, because that doesn't end up in a good health condition. Thank you so much, Kelly, and for
Thank you
all
for
of
having me.
pleasure, and for all of you following the broadcast. See you in our next episode of Honest Up, of how brave entrepreneur like Kelly broke that wall and achieved the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.